Welcome to the TheEatingCast. I am Chris.
And I'm Vincent. And today we're joined by two good friends, Josh and Maddie. Welcome.
Hi,
Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
It has been a million years since I've seen you guys.
I know.
Well, 2 weeks since I've seen
ago.
you. Yeah.
I haven't seen you in months, too.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah, I know.
He's the
And
one
I
that doesn't
apologize.
reach out though.
I know.
You know that.
We know.
I know.
Oh,
Does your
yeah,
phone
yeah,
stay
yeah.
dry?
Yeah, dude, it's dry as a desert.
What's
No.
dry like the desert?
My phone.
Oh.
Well, actually, no. There are
Other
people that
things.
reach out to me. People do reach out to me. But you know who they are?
Your mom and dad?
No.
Oh.
Well, that, but you know who else? All these scam callers.
Oh.
They will never let you down.
Yeah, they'll never let me down.
Yeah.
Never let me
Would
down.
you like to reduce your student loans?
Hi, you owe
British?
money to the IRS. So stupid. But yeah. Besides that, yeah, my life is pretty dry right now. I'm not seeing anyone. I'm not talking to anyone. But that's
You
my
heard
own
that
choice.
first, ladies.
Yeah.
That's my own choice.
Available.
That's my own choice, though. I'm just choosing to focus on myself. I want to work on my character and just kind of focus on this whole podcast and like my career path and everything like that right now.
Would you travel? Would you try to travel?
Would I try to travel?
Yeah.
I am actually put in the books in, I think now is about a year, 2 years from now, that I'm gonna be going to Japan.
Oh shit.
So that's one of my goals.
Tokyo?
Wait, 2020?
2021 or 2022.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm. You're going to Tokyo? Yay!
You've been?
What?
You've been?
No.
Oh my god!
I would just love to go.
He's more cultured than me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we start, today we have some hummus as well as some falafels
Oh.
from
yay.
courtesy of Pita Inn.
Where?
You've been
kidding.
to Shawarma.
Oh yeah, my fault. Not Pita Inn. Shawarma Inn.
Shawarma.
Shawarma Inn.
Wow.
Because I was
You're
looking at pita
definitely
bread.
Yeah, he's looking
not
at pita.
getting a partnership.
There goes our sponsorship.
God damn it! No, because like my reasoning was because I was looking at the pita bread,
Uh-huh.
and then that's why I said Pita Inn, but I meant to say Shawarma Inn.
Yes.
Because Shawarma Inn is the bomb. If you haven't tried it, it is on what's that? Lincoln
Mm-hmm.
and Bryn Mawr. That's two closest intersections, I believe.
Yeah.
By the police station and next to Latin Bliss. For those of you that
Have you been?
And 2
been.
blocks from my house.
Yeah.
If y'all want to party.
We got Latin Bliss right over here.
Wait, what's Latin Bliss like?
Oh my god, no. It's like
No.
where like the 40-year-olds like Latinos go and
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah. Like, in Maddie in like
And they're
2
like
years.
cowboy-
2 years.
Basically.
Oh, man.
We also have mimosas prepared, too.
Yes.
Yes,
Mimosas.
I'm already turning red.
Courtesies of these two lovely people.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right.
Okay, so let's start with Josh.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure.
Who are you?
My name is Josh. I know Vince and Chris through Galter Life Center where we work together. I am a bartender on the weekends, and I also co-host my own podcast called Fear the Queer Podcast.
Which is a really dope podcast if y'all ain't listening yet.
Yes, that is a shameless plug. Please listen whenever you can. And yeah, just like Chris, I've just been focusing on trying to make the podcast as great as possible. Well, obviously you too, Vince, but
Yeah.
All right. And Maddie, a little bit about yourself. Who you are, where you plan to go, and who's your next sugar daddy.
Oh my god. Okay, well, I'm Maddie. Obviously we all used to work together at Galter before Chris abandoned us.
Abandoned it.
Abandoned.
Abandoned.
Abandoned. Dude, okay, my tongue's getting in the way.
Too much mimosas.
Abandoned.
You drank too much.
Right?
Drink.
Abandoned.
Abandoned.
There you go.
Abandoned.
Yeah, there you go.
This is like when I was trying to learn how to say the word.
And all the listeners are abandoning us right now.
Exactly.
Record.
Oh,
We lost sponsors.
The count going down. No.
But anyways, about myself.
Yeah.
I don't know, just, really wanting to, travel. That's always been my thing. Getting back on the workout grind now that my legs are functioning.
What happened?
We'll bring that up in a sec.
Oh.
Continue.
It's a great story.
I don't know all the stories, but I want to know.
Okay.
I know the first one was a surgery, though.
Yeah. But otherwise, yeah, living my best life, trying to.
So,
You know?
who's the next sugar daddy?
My next sugar daddy? Shoot, I didn't even have an original one.
Well, okay, who's gonna be the sugar daddy?
I'm gonna.
You have a prospective person in mind.
Who,
there's
you?
a prospect.
Well, I mean, besides me.
I'm like, I don't know.
Y'all can dig in too.
Well, I mean, you were technically went on a date with certain someone.
But he was boring, you said, right?
Oh, but how could he be my sugar daddy if he's my age? Does that still work?
Because he makes the most moolah.
Oh.
He's about to make moolah.
I was like, you could have a sugar daddy who's younger than you.
Yeah.
Oh, so then I'd be the cougar.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I should have been.
I don't know.
So, Josh, you
Yes.
just mentioned Fear the Queer podcast.
Yes.
What is that about?
So Fear the Queer podcast is a podcast that talks
careful.
about what?
The table
Oh.
shifts.
Oh, I'm sorry.
don't pass much weight. It wasn't you. It was Maddie.
Oh, Maddie.
Wow, calling me out.
It was her arms.
So
Not
Fear the
long
Queer
enough.
podcast is a podcast that talks about everything on our gay agendas, basically talking about everything that queer people go through, queer topics, or just viewing the world through a queer point of view, basically. Yeah.
I actually recently learned that most of the teens in Chicago that are homeless are from LGBTQ communities.
I'm not surprised by that.
I didn't.
Wait,
I didn't
really?
know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because after what the guy told me who like works with the associations and stuff, he said that most times after these kids come out, the parents disown them.
Which is unfortunate and sad in this day and age, especially in Chicago, which is like a very liberal bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
But I'm sure there are still people who are like that out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Holy shit.
I mean, I knew somebody who, technically, they're out now, but I mean, it took them a while to be out and proud for a while because they were still afraid of what their parents were going to think of, even though, like, again, we live in Chicago, it's 2019 and things like that. So, yeah, I can see how that's still prevalent, unfortunately.
What, if you don't mind me asking, what is your identity then? Or how do you identify?
Oh.
Is that the proper question?
Yeah. Well, I definitely consider myself a cisgender man who's queer and likes to express himself through feminine... I don't know, through femininity, and I don't really know if I consider myself technically, like, a Korean American. But we'll get into that in just a second here.
Yeah.
That's a spicy topic that I want to talk about.
Yeah. Oh, now.
Oh, no, not now. In general.
Okay.
No.
But yeah, I definitely consider myself... Oh, because I've only been out for, like, 4 years now. Yeah. Which is weird because I didn't know any of you at that point. I don't think. I don't think I knew you either.
Well, if we did know each other, it's not like we were friends.
Right, that's true.
You know, it's crazy because like when I first wanted you guys to come on, we were gonna talk about like being part of the minority group in Chicago. But recently, I don't know if this was real or fake, but I think Lady Gaga tweeted that now the people of the LGBT community is the majority in the United States.
I guess.
Am I wrong? I don't know.
It
You probably
depends.
made that up in your head.
Pull up the tweet. Let's see it.
Right, just like Lady Gaga, where are you coming from? I can see where she's coming from in the sense of maybe gender expression, because I feel like we have a lot of people now who are able to express themselves, whether it be cisgender, transgender, or non-binary. Certainly. In terms of sexuality, like gay, lesbian, transgender, I definitely would consider us still the minority, at least in my opinions. I'm surrounded by 3 straight people right now, actually.
That's
Are
fair.
you intimidated?
I saw somewhere on Facebook, but
Yeah. I mean, but that's what I kind of would hope that maybe one day, especially with gender expression, that it becomes way more neutral all across the board. Like traditional patriarchy of masculine versus feminine just blends together into this really
I
cute...
mean, I feel like as a community, that was weird.
The mimosas are hitting.
Yeah, they are hitting. But
See,
as
you
a
guys were
community,
talking smack about me.
my voice just went a little high pitched. That was it. Okay. Yeah, my inner little boy came out. But yeah, I feel like Chicago, though there's a lot of we're liberal and everything like that. There's a lot more, I guess, like policies to enforce like acceptance of like the LGBTQ community, and I think that's like at least in my eyes that's a good start.
Yeah.
Right, because that's making the populace more aware of it, and as they're more aware of it, they'll be a little bit more, hopefully, a little bit more opening and a little bit more accepting of it.
Yeah.
Because I know a big thing that I experienced personally. I'm not sure if this is a good topic to talk about, but when I was at Galter one night, I was working with our good friend Lauren.
Oh, I was just like, who?
No, I was working with our good friend Lauren.
Okay.
And a lot of women came out of the women's locker room and to express like kind of like their thoughts and opinions on a said person who was
Were they transgender?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was there for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, they were like, you can't do this is not right, and everything like that. I'm like,
Well, actually, Illinois actually has a law where they cannot discriminate against someone who expresses their identity, which is a great Illinois law.
yeah.
That is not the case in Iowa, I don't think. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I feel like Illinois is very progressive in a lot of ways. Illinois is actually one of the 5 states that forces queer history to be taught in schools now. Which I think is
cool.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. Which I think is going to be really great for educational purposes.
Like all levels or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
That's
going to
awesome.
just be taught like as a part of American history.
Nice.
I mean, it is American history. Queer
Yeah.
history is American history, so
Yeah.
that's why
Did it start here?
in Illinois.
Yeah. Or not Illinois, but like in general in the U.S.
Oh, like the laws.
The
I thought you meant
laws
queer history. I'm just like, I don't think so.
No, obviously not that.
The
Yeah.
breeding ground.
yeah.
The breeding ground of
Galter Life Center is where it all started.
Oh god.
I don't know actually. I just know it's one of the first 5 states.
Okay.
So, which I think is great.
That's awesome.
I mean, we have a good, like, I feel like neighborhood dedicated. You know how each neighborhood has like Koreatown, Japanese-town. I think for Chicago is Boys Town, right?
Yeah.
And that's on
It's one of the biggest gay
Halstead and
neighborhoods.
Addison.
Halstead, Addison.
And it's moving up.
Yeah. I mean,
I think it's actually in Anderson now too. Anderson.
yeah, Andersonville is also very queer friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great because what's great about Boys Town is that one, a lot of people from all different types of culture come to hang out there, and everyone's accepted there. And also just as like a great safe place for people to go, even if they don't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You know. And
Definitely.
I remember my first gay bar moment. It was here,
Oh.
actually. Yeah, I went to Roscoe's with my friend, and they were just like, "Oh my gosh, it's his first night out. Like, be okay. Like, I hope he's gonna be okay and everything like that." And I was like, "Oh my god, this is great!" Because from coming from Iowa, from those small bars
Yeah.
to here,
Did you feel like you needed like a safe community, growing up, like when you found out your identity? Did you feel attacked in certain ways or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely was. I mean, people definitely commented on me being a gay in high school, even though I wasn't out yet. And people just be like, "Are you sure? Like, are you sure you're not gay?" and things like that. Yeah, like a little sassy like side.
Are you sure you're not? Yeah.
Right.
You're throwing a lot of sass.
I
right now,
know,
sir.
I know. It wasn't until I moved here actually.
Yeah.
When I came out, and that's
Okay.
because I was surrounded by a whole bunch of queer people, and I felt safe enough to actually do it. So I
Okay.
definitely think that yes, Chicago is a great place to, I don't know, surround yourself with
Like-minded
comfort.
people.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's pretty awesome.
And minorities in general. You know, like the fact that I'm hanging out with like all people of color right here,
Right.
at home, like that's not really a thing.
Yeah.
I'm usually the token one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope.
Person of
Not today, Maddie's a token one. But it's okay.
Man,
Why? Because she's the girl.
That too, actually. Yeah.
The coolest.
Yes.
the coolest.
Coolest this is.
Yes.
Matt, so your ethnicity, you're Mexican, right?
No, I'm Guatemalan and Salvadorian.
Shit. I didn't know that.
Yup.
Wow, wait till like judge.
Assume.
Damn.
You put a
We're
label on
not
her
all
already.
Mexican.
Well, I knew you were Guatemalan. What was the other?
I didn't know you were Salvadorian.
Salvadorian.
Salvadorian. That's right.
Wait, so what's the umbrella term? Hispanic?
So Latino, but like,
Or
I'm
Latinx?
Central,
or-
like
yeah.
I'm from like Central America, like my nationalities and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah,
My cousin's from Ecuador, actually.
What?
Yeah. I
Wow.
have Central American cousins.
Actually, no, you're right. I do have some friends that are Chinese.
Well, you're full Chinese, right?
I don't know.
Oh.
I never
you
take.
gotta
I've
do the
never taken
DNA
the.
test.
We talked about it last time, and I was like, I don't want the government to clone me. So I'm
Oh,
like, I'm
sure.
okay.
Yeah. Specifically, Chris.
Yeah.
They're just like, you know what? This seems like a stand-up guy.
I want to do
I am a
that.
stand-up guy. What do you know?
Do you feel like minorities never really do like the 23 test or
Well,
whatever?
first of all, it's expensive.
Yeah. But
Well,
also,
no, it's on sale. I think it's like
On Father's
it's,
Day.
$40 right now.
Oh,
Or is
yay.
it- No, but I say no because one, they don't trust it. They're
Yeah.
just, they I feel like minorities, specifically mine, my
Mhm.
parents, like they're like, no, why you gotta do that? You gotta be careful. You gotta be close to home. Like, you don't need to spend money on that bullshit because we know we're Chinese, right? So they're like stubborn too,
right?
But
culturally, yes, I'm Chinese, but through my DNA, it clearly says otherwise.
Yeah.
But I don't actually want to assume that I am full 100% Chinese just because of the fact that my grandfather was born in the Philippines, and then his dad, or my great-grandfather, brought him back to China. So we have roots there, which could just be just cause, you know, but who knows? And knowing like the history of like at least South Asia or like Southern Asia and everything like that, there's been a lot of like turmoil in terms of like just external conflict and external influence.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's a lot of I think the Portuguese got a piece of the land there. The British definitely got a piece of the land there. Definitely the French, I believe, too.
Really? So you could be like all.
So I could be like a whole bunch of mixed like Europeans.
Yeah. Were you guys both born here?
Yeah, I was.
So we're first generation born here, but second generation in America. Because our parents were first generation.
In Park Ridge. Lutheran General Hospital, what up?
Were you all born in Chicago too? Oh,
you're in Iowa.
No, I was born in Korea.
Oh, okay. Let's dive into it.
Yeah.
That's what I want to talk about. That.
You didn't know that?
No.
I knew that.
Yeah, I was born in South Korea.
North or South? No.
Oh my
I don't think I'd be here if I was North.
That's what everyone.
You'd be working the farmland.
That's the first joke everyone fucking goes to. North or South?
Well, it's funny because like other Asians will joke about that and everything like that, but like anyone else is just like, no, but really, are you North Korean?
Yeah,
and I'm
right?
just like, yes, yeah, clearly. No, I was born in South Korea. My mom was a single mom who had 3 brothers before me, so I was kind of like an accident. And she had an affair with a married man, apparently.
Oh.
And so he didn't want anything to do with it. She couldn't afford me, so she put me up for adoption.
So you're the son of the man with the affair?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that is my birth father.
Wait, how'd you know this info?
The adoption agency told my adopted parents. Yeah. Okay. And so I was in a foster home for 9 months, I think. Yep.
So when you were like literally like a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And then I was adopted and moved to Iowa. And my parents actually had adopted a girl from South Korea 6 years before that.
6 years before that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shit.
I can't remember what her backstory was, unfortunately, but they did DNA testing and it turns out we're actually blood related.
What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, somehow we're like second, third cousins or something like that.
Shit.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense, though, just because, like, the whole culture in, like, Asia...
Oh, I know. Like,
everyone's like, somehow
knows
related.
each other, yeah.
Everyone knows each other and everyone's somehow related.
Right.
It's, like, crazy.
There's, like, 6 last names in South Korea.
Like dating your cousin.
Yeah, basically. So, yeah.
So she's like, oh, shit.
We should go sometime, Maddie.
Um...
But yeah, and then I grew up in Iowa for most of my life, and I moved to Chicago in 2015. So
wait, so how old are you when your parents adopted?
Yeah, my parents. My parents adopted me when I was 9 months old.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love your mom. She's so cute.
Yeah. You can add her on Snapchat. She has Snapchat and I don't.
Was it hard? So would you say you're pretty much whitewashed in a sense then?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like that's why when I said like I don't know if I consider myself Korean American because like obviously I am Korean like in my DNA.
Externally.
Yeah, in my appearance, yes.
Yeah.
But in terms of internal for like personality things like that, I would say I'm just American at best.
Yeah. So like that's actually really interesting because like I know because primarily like a lot of Korean kids did get adopted during that time frame, right? In like the 90s, early 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
A lot of Korean kids did get adopted into like American families. And I do know a lot of those Korean kids and the Korean I guess the birth parents, they wanted to reconnect.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I was just wondering, like, in your opinion or in like, in your mind, regardless of what the the adoption agency said to your parents and then what they relate to you, would you be open to kind of like go and visit your birth mother and birth father?
I never really think about it, if that makes sense. Like I never really consider like, oh, like I need to like seek them out or something like that.
But like if they seeked you out though, if they wanted to seek you out,
if they seeked me out, I don't know if I would actually take them on. And it's mostly just because
what's the point?
You have the parents
Right.
that you have.
Right. It's just like I had the parents I have. I had a great like upbringing and things like that. And I don't know if I would necessarily gain anything out of it. Yeah, and I've never really actively tried. My sister never really actively tried either. And nothing against our birth parents, obviously, but it's just like, like what's the point? You know.
Do you think for like just like coming out of that situation, they have like they can gain a little closure that they know that at least their offspring was okay and they're doing well.
I guess. If they wanted to. I feel like I maybe would just communicate through the agency to them then if that's the case, to like kind of protect like both parties. But actually, I mean, for the first, I think, year or so, my parents were actually sending photos to the adoption agency.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like from my home life. And they did that for my sister too, because I think it's actually required. So they could just reference that if they want to.
Yeah.
No, yeah, look at your baby.
Yeah,
And then
like,
I'm sure,
clear,
that
You're
his
like, oh my
biological
God, he's got
mom
such a good
saw,
life.
like, he's doing great. So
Right.
he has a loving family. Like,
Right. She has 3 kids of her own, you know.
Right.
That's hopefully are gonna take care of her.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
You never know.
You never know.
Maddie, were you adopted too or no?
so
Was
I
Maddie adopted?
grew up in Park Ridge. So that's kind of like what made me, I guess, like whitewashed per se. Like,
For a Latina, yeah, definitely.
I mean, I definitely like my Latina friends always tell me that I'm white.
I mean, you come off pretty
I
hard.
am called the coconut of the group.
Coconut.
Yeah.
So
White
we're
on
called
the inside.
banana.
Brown on the outside.
We're called the banana, and they're called the coconut.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Like, especially like when I went to Puerto Rico with my friends, and they're like, and I'm like, oh, you ask for me because like I can speak Spanish, but it's definitely not like up to what like my other friends who grew up speaking it constantly and needing to know it. I definitely understand it and can write it and read it better than I can speak it. But yeah, I grew up with, 4 other siblings. I mean, they are older than me. They all know how to kind of at least communicate, get their way with, speaking Spanish. I probably would say that I'm the best out of all of us. And
That speak it?
yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
My oldest
Wow.
sister can kind of, really speak it like pretty well or definitely understand it.
Were you taught by your family?
What?
Were you taught by your family?
More like
She was taught in the hood, dude. What do you mean?
on
Park
the
Ridge is no
streets.
hood.
Dealing, yeah.
Honestly, I think I started like my first boyfriend was Latino, so I think I kind of learned more a little bit with him. But like, yes, I was definitely taught by my family and growing up. But I think dating him made me like learn a little more.
About yourself.
Did you ever meet his parents?
Yeah,
Did they like look down on you because you weren't cultured? So to like
they just
as much
kind
as
of
they
knew
wanted
like,
you to?
oh, she wasn't like raised the way that like
He was raised.
yeah,
Yeah.
So.
He wasn't taken to raves when
Oh,
he was 6 years
wow.
old.
Wow.
Interesting.
Interesting. I mean, I guess. Well, and it's funny too because like we always say like, oh, we're like white on the inside and things like that, when really it's just we're Americanized.
Yeah.
But it's funny how it's like categorized as
White.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They ruined
I
everything.
do feel like that's just because it's like,
You heard it here, folks.
You ruined everything.
God.
And I'm dating one.
Me too.
Oh, no,
God
you're
damn
not
it.
dating one.
Oh yeah.
You're engaged to one.
Engaged to one.
Aw.
There's a difference. All right.
Colonized the colonizer.
He's on that. You both are on that boat.
Right.
We're colonizing the colonizers.
Exactly.
But yeah. So like, I guess in that sense, like from your upbringing to like kind of like coming to Chicago, you clearly were able to kind of fully express your like innermost feelings.
Yeah.
Right. And express who you actually are.
Right.
So how did your parents feel in terms of like when you first came out?
Well, do you guys want to hear my coming out story? Because it's kind of dramatic.
If you're okay with it.
Oh, of course. Yeah, it's a funny story.
yeah, it's a good
Oh,
one.
the funny story. Okay.
Yeah. So I moved to Chicago in August of 2015, and I told my parents in April 2016, because at that point I knew I was gay. And I was just like, okay, well, I'm going to go back home to Iowa. I'm going to plan it out. I'm going to sit them down, tell them I knew that they were going to be okay with it, so I wasn't like too worried about it. It was just more of like, get it over with.
Just get out.
Yeah. So I go home, and I spend the entire weekend with them, and I was planning on doing it at dinner, like at my favorite restaurant with them and things like that. Just kind of talk it over with them.
Juicy.
Yeah. So for listeners who do not know, I have a very severe nut allergy. Yes. Yeah.
I can see where it's going. Right?
Yeah. So we're having dinner and everything like that, and I was just like, okay, I know it's probably going to come up soon. I'm like drinking my margarita. It was at a Mexican restaurant, so I was like, okay, so gotta get ready, gotta be prepared and everything. And as I'm thinking this, my dad looks at me and is just like, are you okay? I'm just like, yeah, I'm fine. I was just like, it's just kind of hot in here. And he's just like, no, you have hives all over you. I'm just like, what? And I turn to the mirror and I'm covered like head to toe in hives. I was like, oh my God. And in that moment, I felt like my lips starting to get numb and my tongues, and everything like that. I was just like, oh shit, I'm having an allergic reaction.
Do you know what gave you the hives?
Apparently they put like peanut sauce in like the enchiladas or something like that. I know, something tricky like that.
That's so weird.
I know. So we leave the restaurant. We don't do that. Yeah, we leave the restaurant and we're like sprinting to the hospital. I'm just like, well, fuck, I have to tell them because I'm leaving tomorrow. So we're in the ER and I'm already like I've had 2 margaritas at this point, so I'm kind of lit. And they stick you with ibuprofen or not ibuprofen. What is it?
IV.
An IV with Benadryl.
Okay.
And so like Benadryl, alcohol. Like, my head was rushing. I was just, like, laying there, just, like...
yeah.
Yeah. And I was just laying there, my parents were sitting next to me, and I'm just like... So, guys, I gotta tell you something. I like boys. And my mom was like, what? And I was like, yep, I like men.
I'm allergic to nuts, but not all nuts.
But not all.
Oh, my God.
Exactly. And my mom was just like, okay. And I'm just like, is that okay with you guys? She's just like, well, yeah, but why are you telling us right now? Like, in front of, like, all these doctors. I'm just like, I just needed to. And then, like, I fell asleep. And next morning, I just woke up, like, completely recovered. And they're just like, was that your plan to do that? I was like, well, not in that way, but yes, it was.
Yeah.
I was going to tell you that night, but...
Yeah. So
unfortunate events took place.
So, basically, I came out to them in an emergency room full of Benadryl. Yeah. And I knew they were going to be okay with it. My dad is, like, the most down-to-earth, chill guy. And my mom, she was raised Catholic. And so I was kind of nervous about that aspect of the family. But no one has been upset about it whatsoever. So...
How about the rest of your family?
I've actually never really told them officially.
Oh.
Like, I told my 2 sisters and my parents, but I never actually told my extended family because...
Does it matter?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And also, it's just like you're constantly going to have to come out of the closet then, you know what I mean? And it's just like, you have the same storytelling over and over again, and, so...
At this point, they can just go look at your Insta.
Right? It's like a transformation night and day with that.
It's like, oh my.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Our cousin?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not.
Wait, so what's the difference between, like, saying you're gay and you're queer?
Well, queer is just more like an umbrella term. Mm-hmm. Like, queer just means not heterosexual. Okay. So you can be, like, gender non-binary. That's considered you as a queer person. You can also just identify as queer, just meaning that, like...
You don't know?
You don't know. Yeah, it could be questioning. It could be curious. It could be anything. And I know a lot of people, a long time ago, used to think queer was, like, a really derogatory word. But it's been reclaimed as a way of, like, saying, like, we're just not heterosexual.
Yeah.
In the traditional terms.
Yeah.
So, and I actually kind of prefer calling myself queer, because that way it doesn't limit yourself to, like, a certain label. Which is kind of the point of, like, what queerness is supposed to do. So.
It's gonna give you the freedom to experiment. That's good.
Yeah.
Because I'm his girlfriend.
Yeah. Like, you could be, like, a cisgender woman who does drag.
Yeah.
Like, and, yeah, and that's considered itself part of the queer community,
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's just, so many different examples and things like that. And that's, I think, I like that we're heading towards using that phrase more commonly. So, yeah.
What was I going to say? I forgot.
Well, I do have something that I want to kind of, like, bring up. So, it's like,
Yes.
You obviously went to school for, film.
Yes.
And performance, I'm assuming.
Well, film editing.
Just film editing?
Yeah.
Okay. And I remember briefly,
It's for her videos. Her music videos.
What music
Why
videos?
are you so obsessed with me?
Oh my god.
You didn't know she was a singer?
I didn't know that.
Catch my TikToks coming soon.
Oh
Just
my
kidding.
God.
I'm just kidding.
I hate TikTok with a passion.
Really?
I know.
Dude,
'cause,
I love watching them.
I think it's because we grew up with Vines.
Oh
I
my
know.
god,
It doesn't
bring
replace
Vine
Vine.
back.
And then TikTok's just like these kids. I'm like, what are you doing? You're like reacting to another person's video. I'm like, what?
I know. It's not. It'll never replace Vine in my heart.
Yeah. But I mean,
I grew up with like 08 YouTube.
MySpace.
Zynga.
Zynga.
Live journal.
Photo
Yeah.
bucket.
Oh yeah, photo bucket.
Dude, I wish I knew my password.
To your old MySpace profile.
No,
Oh.
to like my old photo bucket.
Is it still around?
You can still go on the website, but I was
Really?
trying to guess my password for the longest, and then I don't know the email anymore. Like, I know the email, I just don't know the password to that email.
Right.
Got you.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Sorry, what were you saying, Chris?
So what I was saying was, so I remember, okay, so we're in film editing, right? And I remember briefly we were going over kind of like a little bit about kind of what you were doing at Galter, and I remember you were talking about your script.
Yes. So it's funny because Fear the Queer podcast originally actually was supposed to be a web series that we were producing called Fear the Queer web series. And it was funny because my friend Kyle, who's actually the creative genius behind it, he's the other half of Fear the Queer podcast. He had a concept of the show for a long time. And at the time when he invited me on, I was going through like a bad breakup. And so he's just like, well, why don't you get your creative juices flowing? She knows.
I think
Like-
I'm aware. I'm aware.
Yeah, you're aware too. And we're
He,
just
he
like,
has no idea.
yeah, we'll tell you afterwards.
That's how Josh and I became friends.
It is actually. We became friends through my breakup.
Okay.
Yes.
Kind of funny.
Yeah. So anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So he had a whole script prepared of like this like web series that he wanted to produce and things like that. We were getting it all ready, but web series are so expensive. Like the idea of like having to like shoot, edit, like go on location, like all that stuff. We're just like, we're poor, starving artists here as it is. So we transformed it into a podcast, and that's where I went from there. And I still have all the old scripts of the web series.
Are you gonna like go back to it though?
Maybe eventually. It's kind of funny because what Kyle wrote out is almost predicting word for word of what exactly happened to us in our personal lives.
Oh wow.
Because like my character started the podcast and everything like that with him. And then he got a boyfriend and moved in with him and everything like that, which is what happening with me. His character starts to become bigger and bigger throughout like the art community, which is happening right now because he has an art display coming out soon.
Oh,
so it's
man.
kind of just like he's just
So he needs to
predicting-
keep writing, essentially, so we can know the rest of your lives.
Right, exactly.
That's pretty wild.
He kills me off.
Oh shit.
No, Josh.
He had me in to, like, make lots of money.
Yeah. So it's
That's
kind
pretty
of cool.
crazy.
Yeah, it was really cool. But again, and we were like getting really close to like we had like storyboards ready. We had the script lined out. We had people in mind of who we wanted to cast and everything. But feasibly, it was just not in the works at the time. So, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess like with that, it's like, and your kind of video editing background, it's like,
It helps
Do
with
you-
our podcast a lot, actually.
yeah.
Are you guys on film yet or no?
No, we have never thought about it. We're actually thinking about maybe doing a live show soon, which I will invite you all to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Maybe, like, the live applause.
Yeah.
Applause.
Like, I was gonna say they'll have a sign up like.
That'd be awesome.
Say
Yeah.
boo. Boo.
Oh.
Be shocked.
Yeah. So yeah.
Just get a soundboard at that point.
Like a
Just
little
record,
keyboard.
yeah.
But we're trying to expand more of like interactive like audience experiences with our
Podcast.
podcast. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do too. Like, what we're trying to do like on the Instagram, like asking these polls, questions, just like interact with the audience.
Yeah.
We're trying to.
Yeah, it's key. It's key.
Yeah.
I mean, ask her. She's like the Instagram queen.
You are the
Oh, I
Instagram
know. Everybody tells me that. Like, my friends are like, why didn't you ever go into marketing? Or, like, why didn't, like, you know, like, I need a social media job is what I really need.
Then why would you have
queen.
one?
Yeah, there's a
I
bunch.
don't know, like, yesterday my siblings literally told me, like, you use us to bring your, like, social media. And I'm like, well, I gotta tag my sister because she has a lot of followers.
You don't actually love us.
You're just using us.
But like, I mean, I just like I like social media. I can really figure it out, and I mean, yeah.
Where'd you go to school for?
Education. I like about my senior year realized teaching was not for me.
But you still want
What did you teach though?
So I was doing like my my student teaching essentially. Like I was in the classroom and everything, and I was like, heck no, change this. Like it's not for me. And I mean, originally I was doing for early childhood education, like kindergarten, like preschool. So it's like, you know, I wasn't signing up to change people's diapers, you know. I mean, I have, you know, 3, soon 4 nephews, and I mean, they're family. Those are my babies, you know. Like, I don't mind changing their diapers.
Right.
But
like complete strangers.
Yeah, no. And I think it just wasn't for me as I was like figuring it out and going each day, you know, doing the like being there at 7 a.m. till like, you know, 3 p.m. And
we all know you're not a morning person.
I'm an opener.
I was gonna say she opened at 4:45.
Yeah. Okay.
I did too.
But
I was always late.
Until you abandoned us.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But yeah, then I like one of my professors was like, "Oh, have you ever heard of like child development?" Like, and we had to take child development courses, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that you could actually do something more with that." And so that's what I ended up. You know, I did my victory lap, 5 years of college. You know,
it's okay.
And
I was 7.
Were you really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And I spent 2 years in a community college. Just because like, I was trying to figure out what I was doing, what I wanted to do.
Well, that's like Connie who thought you dropped out.
Oh yeah.
Wait, what?
One of our coworkers thought I dropped out of college.
Oh my god.
Like, no.
Because he told her like, what? You only took like a few years. Like...
Yeah, I was only in college for 3 years, and she's like, "Oh, and then you quit." I was like, "No."
No, I graduated in 3 years. What do you mean? I was an A+ student.
Yeah, I switched on over to child development with an emphasis on infant development. So essentially, I'm the perfect mom if anybody is, you know.
Anybody's looking.
if not the perfect mom,
Babysitter.
the perfect nanny.
Yeah.
But
She's the Mary Poppins of Chicago.
Actually, surprisingly, nannies make big bucks.
no, I know. I do it on the side. It's my side hustle.
Really?
Yeah.
But it's probably
Nanny
it's your
makes big
nephews though,
bucks.
right?
Well, I haven't babysat my nephews since this year because I wanted to have more hours at work. But now it's like I work half days, some days at work. So then I do go pick up kids after school and I'm with them until their parents get home or something.
So there's like apparently a thing where you're like a 24-hour nanny.
Really?
For these quote unquote like very well off families. And your job is to literally take care of the kids and help educate them, especially if they're early on, so they don't go to preschool or anything like that. And then after preschool age hits and they're of age to go to like boarding school, they'll go to boarding school.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a lot of work.
There's like, I mean, I nanny through like, you know, knowing like my sister's friends or like, you know, my sister, or people from Galter. But there's somebody, I definitely have like nanny through an agency now. For when I like don't have any of like the other people that I typically nanny for, and there's literally a mom that wants somebody on call, so you get paid regardless. But like when she calls you, like, hey, I need you to come, you need to
You
go.
gotta be there.
2 a.m.
Yeah.
I need you here now.
But like but they give you a window. It'll be like, oh, you're on call from 10 p.m. to like 5 a.m. And if you don't if she doesn't need you, you still get paid. You know?
Nice.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's perfect for the night owl.
Are you doing that right now? Is that what you said? You're doing that?
Nannying?
That 24 hours?
I'm not. No. I haven't like signed up to be like.
So
her
how do
person.
I get in on that?
And
I'll be late to everything.
No, I'll be on time to that. I'm a night person. There's no traffic.
Oh, fair. Yeah.
But yeah, I love nannying. Like, I mean, you meet a bunch of different parents, you know, that can eventually help you. And
I just thought of something.
you know.
Considering the fact that you were talking about, like, we're like whitewashed or whatever like that. Like, when and if you have kids, are you gonna like keep them in with like
A nanny. So my family grew up with having essentially, I guess the term, nanny.
But that's because both your parents were professional people.
Yes. But you know one other thing about, like, people always have asked me, like, oh, were your parents not around? I honestly can't remember.
Why?
Because, like, you know, they think, like, doctors are always working
Trauma.
and whatever.
Yeah.
But, like,
Let it out.
Yeah.
I feel like
We're
my
here.
parents were there. You know, we went on family vacations. We did holidays. My parents, they were there at night. Like, I mean, I remember my mom leaving me, like, making me breakfast in the morning. You know, there's oatmeal in the aga. There's,
Aga.
grab that. It's like this, like, oven that's, like, from Europe. And then...
That goes to show how bougie she is.
No. And then...
I have an aga.
They're so cool.
I have
But we don't have one now. But then, and then
Well,
her,
you
like,
do have
leaving
two
me a
ovens.
note, telling me, like, hey, there's this for dinner, heat it up for this amount of time. And then, like, her being home, like, in 2 hours or something.
Yeah.
Or, like, my brother would be driving us to swim practice, we'd get home and she'd be there.
It just seems like your household's like fast paced almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were always on the move. We were always in activities, but like we did have, a nanny essentially. She's actually on the next generation. She helps my sister take care of my nephews now. So
That's pretty awesome.
yeah. I mean, as we got older, I believe my parents got. I wouldn't say rid of her, but like, kind of,
God.
We don't need you no more. You're out. You're
obviously
cut.
she's been in our life forever. I mean, I want to say my parents, phased her out as my oldest sister. We're 10 years apart, but, there's 4 older siblings.
Yeah.
So my oldest sister, I think we phased out our nanny when she went away to college.
Oh,
Or
Oh,
was
so
in
she was
college.
like young.
And she's been around since I was born.
She still hangs out with you guys?
Yeah, we invited her to our Thanksgiving, but she had her own thing. She did come by Thursday, Thanksgiving morning, because we do, like, a little walk and everything. But otherwise, yeah, she takes care of my nephews now 3 days a week.
Oh, wow.
So she's really involved in our family. My siblings have, asked her to, like, because she also, like, is a really, like, she's almost like, I guess nannies, clean too. So she's really good at cleaning houses. So, like, they'd be like,
So she's your
when we didn't have any of the nephews, we would ask her to, like, clean, like, the houses. Like, hey, like, we're having a big event. Would you want to come
the
clean?
houses.
The houses.
Not
Very
like
casually,
not like
houses.
I mean, like, my siblings' houses,
Yeah.
not just like it's not like we owned multiple.
That would be.
I don't know nanny.
You're
Let's
renting.
make that clear.
You're renting.
Do you have mom and dad? You live with both?
My parents are divorced.
Okay.
And then so my mom
They divorced
lived,
later on in life, though, correct?
yeah.
Yeah.
They were, like, separated, like, while I was, like, in high school and everything.
Did it affect you in any way?
No, I went away.
No.
Not like that. I was, getting ready to go to college. I was like that person who's like, let me peace out,
Did you know it, though? Like, did you kind of have an idea?
I think I was, like, kind of naive to it.
Oh.
Really?
I think I was, like, too young, and I think even to this day, I think that I'm very, like, not in the know of what is going on.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, my sister's made a point, like, she's like, we all have our own stuff going on in our lives. We have our own anxiety. We have our own, there's no reason for us to know what's business is still going on with our parents,
That's fair.
because
So I feel like
that's going to affect us as well. And it shouldn't. So, like, we have our own problems, our own lives, that they deal with their own thing and we deal with our own thing.
Is that like a Latino thing?
No, I think it's an American thing.
Yeah.
Because most Latino families, they're actually really family oriented.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
So whatever happens, and everyone in the family knows about it. Sorry, I'm talking while eating. I'm sorry for all you listeners and
That's okay.
viewers that are...
Snacking.
I know, Josh is being a skinny legend and not eating.
To be fair, I had a huge breakfast before this. Because
Yo,
I
same.
forgot.
I know you're lying.
What? No, I forgot that we were eating on this because I was so excited for the mimosas.
Yeah.
Well, with mimosas...
I'm a
what goes good with
snacker.
it? Yeah.
So I'm always down to snack.
So, like, would you marry within your culture?
Myself?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
It's tricky. Because I'm not...
Depends on the net worth.
Exactly. This girl.
Yeah.
Net
No.
worth and assets of said
Brains or
individual.
bronze?
Dude, after my experience, I'm all about...
Neither. All about money.
No. I'm about, like, awesome personality. Like, you could... I'm, like, a lot to handle, I feel like, as it is. Because I'm just, like, so out there. that, I mean, Chris is naughty!
That's why it took me 6 months to hang out again with you.
Excuse me?
I'm kidding.
Truth is out.
Wow.
I'm kidding.
Wow.
I'm kidding.
I just think I have really big personality. Like I'm really outgoing. That I need I'm all about opposites attract, because I would almost need someone to kind of I wouldn't say bring me down, because that sounds so
mellow you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also want to almost still enjoy the things that I like to do and everything. But I definitely need someone who's gonna make me laugh and will accept my obnoxious laugh.
As you laugh obnoxiously.
I will laugh at my own jokes before I can even spit them out.
Like the subtitle.
Mid-sentence.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
But I'm not restricting myself to just my culture or anything. I mean, I have I guess not type, but there's definitely what friends have said, oh, this is your type.
Mm-hmm. You do have a type.
Which is?
Gingers.
Ooh.
But this is the thing. I'm very into whatever is opposite of me. I would almost want to see what our babies would come out to look like. I'm all about the science experiment.
She's just
So she would have 10 babies
No!
before choosing the right person.
No.
Man,
Definitely not that.
How many kids would you want?
2. Or I'd be, if they were twins, 1 and done.
There you go.
Yep. Hello, I'm
what
getting
if
turned
they were
into
octopus?
Violet from Willy Wonka. Do you not
What?
see how little I
Violet? Oh,
am? You know when she blows up into a blueberry? That's gonna
blueberry?
be me.
She turned into a blueberry?
Yeah.
Where the Oompa
It's been
Loompas
so
are rolling
long.
her out. That's
It's been
gonna
so
be
long.
We're just
me.
gonna
Watch
roll her
it.
down the hallway as soon as she's coming to hospital.
Little did you know, that's actually how they harvest more blueberries.
But yeah, I mean, I guess I'm attracted to a white male who has, reddish orange hair. I definitely am someone who has some height to them. I'm little.
Yeah.
What's your height? 5.
5'1" with a bun.
Yeah, 5 with a bun, 4'11" without a bun.
That's a high bun.
Yeah, did you see her hair? Super long.
Well, now I cut it, so it's not as long.
Okay, so now she's
anymore.
5 feet with a bun.
Yeah.
How tall
So
do
then
they have to be?
what is my type, would you guys say?
I don't
Because I know I talked to you guys a lot about my personal life.
Toxic.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, but I think you've always shown that you've been interested in someone who's Asian.
Petite.
Yes.
Yeah.
Someone who I feel like
I feel like I don't really know what your type is, but I know what your role is in the relationship.
What's my role?
you want to save them.
I feel like you want to be the caregiver. You want to be the one who's just come with me and I'll
hero.
show
But
you
you
the
know
world.
he wants to save them.
Right.
There's an issue. They have somewhat of an issue.
That's why you pick toxic ones, bro.
He wants to save them.
Because your natural instinct is to be that savior.
Mm-hmm.
So then you are naturally attracted to those people who need
We're
help.
damaged.
Are damaged.
I enjoy damaged goods. and then getting my heart broken. And then dip setting on them.
What's that thing called in Japanese culture where you just dip gold to fix broken vase? It's not ugly.
No,
you
but
just lace it with gold.
the new generation
idea.
is sticking ramen.
Oh yeah, shaving it off, hardening it. That's crazy. That's creative. The amount of things that thing has fixed.
That's not real, dude.
Okay, try it.
Yeah, that's
Report
Try
back.
it with your relationship. Speaking of which, Chris, you need a refill.
Yes, more.
Yes.
You don't get the red flush like they do.
I do not, but I think it's because it's the white in me.
The white in him is overpowering.
Banana, the coconut.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you guys.
Yes, go ahead.
In terms of Asian cultures, accepting queer people, what is your I guess history with that and things?
Oh, I hate
If
him.
you-
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Wait,
I don't want you on.
So
Okay.
personally, I feel at least our generation, the younger generation, the ones that were born here and raised in that I guess the freedom of to experience life, unlike our parents.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, that's a lot of mess.
Dude, because I was breaking my falafel into pieces.
You're telling a really interesting
Yeah,
story.
keep going.
Sorry. My OCD kicked
Rude.
in. Or my ADD and
Rude.
my ADD
I
slash
see.
OCD
This is why
kicked
your
in.
dates probably failed. Because you're wow, she made
Wow,
a
she's
mess.
disgusting.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
when
literally.
over
Think out loud.
here,
You think
when
out
over
loud.
here,
I
I
do
break
think
my
out loud.
food into pieces. Josh makes fun of me when I cut my hamburgers into.
Oh, she cuts her
in
hamburgers
half.
in half. It's so cute. But it's not like one of those like big juicy ones. It's like a McDonald's.
Because I'm trying to be ladylike and not make a mess and have things all over me. Like, I got a built-in shelf here.
Yeah, you rest the burgers.
Yeah, you're like, I got one too right here. But yeah,
Chris has the biggest boobs out of all of us.
What can I say? I aim to please the woman.
Yes. So anyway, what?
But yeah, so our generation that was born in America, right? We're more exposed to that culture and the American culture, and more freely able to kind of experience life for what it is.
Yeah.
Unlike our parents, who pretty much had to kind of like, in a sense, struggle and literally work their asses off day in and day out, just to provide a living for us and to establish some type of like foundation so that we can like do what we want to do.
Something you can fall back on.
Exactly. So because of that, I feel like we are more open, right? Just because we're more easily exposed to like certain cultures.
Are you saying like we as in like our age?
Yes, our age.
Parents?
Yeah.
Okay.
Millennials.
Yeah, millennials or even us.
We are millennials.
Are we the millennials?
Yes, we are.
I read
My
something.
I thought we were
always
the other
tell
one.
me,
Oh wait, there's
my
Z.
God.
Okay,
My siblings always tell me,
yeah.
you're such a millennial, always recording everything on your phone.
I read too that apparently we're the most adaptable culture because we're the ones who grew up when the internet actually first started.
Yeah.
And when we had bricks as cell phones.
Right. We had to adapt to that.
And
Snake.
before any of that existed, we were very creative in terms of like, oh, let's do this, let's do that, let's play hide and seek here and there.
Right.
Ghost in the graveyard.
Oh my
Woo!
God. So we call that Dead Man.
Oh.
Yeah.
But your question was,
Like, I guess as like Asians in Chicago.
Yeah.
Like,
So
do you know any other queer Asians or anything?
queer.
I do
one.
know a few other
Randy
ones.
Kim.
Yes.
He's a Cambodian. He's Cambodian.
He's Cambodian, yeah.
He's
Okay.
Cambodian, and he's
I gotta top off.
he works with
A
the community a
dash or
lot,
a
and he
pour?
actually
A pour.
messaged me. He's like, "How did I not know that?
Oh, yeah.
you were on the radar." Because like,
Oh, really?
Because he's trying to like find the community. You
Yeah.
know?
So he's a storyteller.
Yeah, he's a storyteller. So in our last episode, previous episodes, he
Someone just added me on Instagram who I think it might actually be him.
Banh Mi Chronicles. He also
Yes.
he has a
Yes.
podcast.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
And he is basically a storyteller, and he truly believes that when your story should not die with you in your corpse. Like, if you have a story, share it, because you don't know that story's going to help someone else. So he's a big
that's
proponent of
cute.
it. Yeah, he's
I like that saying.
That's actually really deep.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what really
it's sat with us for a while.
It's sat with us, and I still feel like it does sit with us just because of the fact that quote, right, that he kind of said, like, really stuck with us, and it really kind of, I feel like it drove us even more to actually, like, want to have everyone on, right?
Yeah.
Like you guys, as well as, like, all of our prior
I've been
guests.
asking to be on since the beginning.
you were on our list. I swear, you knew you were on our list.
I was like, since they were like, we're making a podcast, I'm like, I want to be on.
I remember that one.
But because shout out to Randy for that, because like when he said that, it definitely helped us redefine our mission almost, because in the beginning we were just like, we're gonna focus on bridging artists, bridging the community via dialogue, and then when he said that, we were like, you know what, I think everyone has a story, so if they can come on, if they could educate the audience, if they could share their experiences, why not?
Yeah, because it's going to help others to come, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
might be experiencing
when
that
you
same
say
situation.
experiences, like, I mean, my friends know I grew up in Park Ridge, you know, a middle class white suburb of Chicago. I moved into the city in high school. I definitely, like, there's some movie, and I remember seeing it in film studies, and I was like, and it, like, really spoke to me, and I wish I knew, like, what the movie to this...
Can you remember what happened in it?
It was just, like, a bunch of cultures and, like, you know, like, I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
But, like, I remember, like, thinking, like, oh my gosh, like, this is almost kind of, like, I need to be open more to, like, what's around me, because... You know, I was now immersed in the city. I was seeing people, like, who didn't, you know, come from, you know, what I came from. And
You can see Josh,
You know.
like,
I know. I'm
so hard.
thinking. I'm just like,
He's like, I can pinpoint
Was it-
5 movies.
what was it about? Or like, what was like? Was it like interwoven stories with
Yeah.
like different people?
Sense8.
Sense8?
no, that's like
No,
a series.
that's a series on Netflix.
Is it Babel?
I don't know.
That would be a good one.
When are you in high school?
Hello, we're the same age.
It was pretty recent.
I know, but this is like...
That's like the last
I graduated
4 years.
like 09.
It might have been Babel, but I don't know.
But regardless, like, I mean, it just really like made me like be aware, you know, of being like with all the cultures around me. I mean, my first city friend is, you know, a Latina, and she became my friend because nobody else wanted to. You know, I mean, not that I like, you know, sad story, but it was just like I came from, you know, a school that, you know, had really good athletes, had the money for it, you know, and here I am like, who's this girl walking in who like, you know, is better than everybody in like swimming, you know, because that was my sport. I used to practice with the Northside College prep kids because I had a coach, my off-season coach was there.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm in the city and this team sucks, you know?
Yeah.
And so I would swim with them. But my friend was like, you know, she seems cool. Like, why aren't we friends with her? And, I mean, to this day, I'm still friends with her. I was with her last night. And I was at her wedding. You know, it's just, yeah, we now have more than 10 years of friendship. Yeah. So... And I always tell her, I'm like, oh my God, you're my first friend, you know, in the city, you know.
That's quality over quantity for sure.
You know, I mean, it's definitely different because, like, I think I've even talked to them, like, we do every 2 weeks where, with my Latina friends, we do tea time, where we literally have a tea set out, and we make tea, and, you know, I know there's, like, the whole memes of, like, ooh, spill the tea, you know, which we kind of do, but it's more, like, of us just, like, getting together and, like, catching up. You know, a week ago, like, our friend was here from New York. She's a news reporter. So we got to see her and just all hang out.
That's awesome.
But, like...
Wait, news reporter? What's her name?
Joanna Hernandez.
Joanna Hernandez.
Yeah. Channel 12, New York. You know?
Fox?
But,
Sponsor us, Joanna.
Get us on Fox.
But, like, we all talked about it because they always ask me, they're like, Maddie, like... You know, how are things going with, like, you know, not to sound bad, but, like, how are things going with your white friends, you know? Because to them, like, we've all been friends forever, but I wouldn't say that in our group of friends there's anybody that's white, who, except for me, that they want to say is white.
Sure.
But, like, and I'll tell them, I'll be like, what?
Who's seen your house? Or your mom's house?
Isn't it great? I love it.
Oh, my mom's
nuts.
Oh, I know. I walked in, I was like, this is beautiful.
Yeah, it's a nice house.
But anyway.
But, like, yeah, I mean, telling them, like, everything, like, of, like, they'll be like, oh, what's going on? I'm like, oh, they're mad at me because of this. Or, you know, it's, you know, it's such a different vibe. I don't know if you guys ever feel it. Like, if, you know, if you have your friends of, like, you know, your culture or, like, get it. And, like, I don't know, to me, like, I've told them, like, I'm like, you know, we've all been friends for, like, more than 10 years now. They've never given me, like, crap for, like, going away for college and then, you know, like, not being around or, like, you know, I have, you know, I was a lifeguard in the summers at the beach, like, that I had lifeguard friends, you know, like, that I'd be hanging out with them or, like, work friends, you know, but I always felt like a few of, like, my college friends were like, oh, you're not hanging out with us or, you know, something like that, and it'd be like, but I don't get that negativity from, like, the friends that have been there, you know?
Yeah. I feel like that's just because, like, not to be mean to those friends, but, like, they're just shallow, right? They need the acceptance and kind of, like, the notice of everyone around them to gain, like, some type of recognition.
Right.
And I think that's, like, what's different in cultures. Like, I don't know, I feel like, at least with myself, like, I feel with my Latina friends, like, they're going to be there for me no matter what. You know, I'm not saying that, like, my white friends wouldn't, you know, but especially, like, after this year with, like, me being in the boot twice. You know?
About that. So what happened?
So, the first time I was in a boo, I had a biopsy, done because I had skin color pigmentation show up, so they removed that on my foot. So that, I was in the boot just to kind of help heal because I couldn't put my foot in a shoe. Then, we fast forward to July. I was carrying a box into my apartment. And if you guys have been to my apartment, it's like 5 steps.
I haven't been in it, but I've seen it.
Yeah, literally 5 stairs.
It's 5 stairs. And so I was carrying it, and I don't know, like, I was wearing Sperry's. It's not like I was even, I remember my mom was
really
like,
low profile shoes.
Yeah, my mom's like, what shoes were you wearing? I'm like, I wasn't wearing flip-flops or anything. I was wearing Sperry's. And, like, I literally was holding a box, and I don't know what happened. Maybe I thought, like, I was done with the stairs, but, like, I fell, and my ankle rolled. Like, ooh. I remember it, like, rolled that my body went over. And I remember I was on the ground, like, like, you know, like, I don't even know if I can get up, like, you know. Gosh. And I literally couldn't get up. Like, my Apple Watch was my life alert. Oh. Like, the millennial life alert. Right
oh, my God. If that is not... If that's not the most truest saying in the world, I don't know what is. Right.
But literally, because my phone wasn't nearby.
Yeah.
And
so does that... It connects to your phone.
Yeah, so I was able to call off of this. And literally, like, I called the last person who was, like, on, which was, like, luckily, like, our family nanny. Like, I literally, like, she had just dropped me off because I had, like, gotten boxes from her. And she, like, just, like, she now lives 2 blocks from me. Mm-hmm. So she, like... just literally drove back around the corner. I luckily did not lock my apartment door yet.
Yeah.
Oh,
and so she came busting in, and my friends, we were all having a beach day. So my other friend was on her way to come pick me up. And I was like, she was like,
be there soon.
Yeah. And I was like, and I texted her back off my watch, like, I fell. And, like, the last thing before that, I was telling her, like, okay, cool, I'm going to pack a lunch. So she thinks, like, in her mind, she envisioned, like, oh, she tripped and her salad went up in the air. Like, you know, like, nothing, you know, nothing crazy. And then she's like, okay, she's not responding. So she busts into my apartment. And, like, she sees, like, that they're, like, I'm trying to stand up. And I'm, like, crying, like, because it hurt so bad. Yeah, like, I couldn't put any weight on it. And, like... as, like, I would calm down, and then, like, I'd retell this, like, my brother would call me back, because I tried to call him, and I'd, like, break down crying. Like, my mom would call me back, because nobody knows how to answer their phones these days, you know?
That's true.
And so, I mean, at this point, like, my brother was like, dude, you need to go to the ER. Like, if you can't, like, stand up, like, go to the ER. So, like, my friend drove me to the ER, my mom met me up, and, like, I had a grade 3 sprain. So, which is, like, you know, the worst you can have.
That's when all your ligaments in your foot get hyperextended.
Oh.
And it's all, like, loosey-goosey.
Yeah. I thought I broke that thing. Yeah. Like, you know, like, I was like, oh, my gosh. And I was on crutches. I mean, I ditched those things fast because I was over it.
So, how did you get your other boot?
So, after I was in the crutches, then to be able to, like, help walk, to have support, was the boot. Mm. And then I was, like, having one crutch with the boot, and then I ditched the crutches all in general. And I was just walking in the boot to help it. Because I think at that point, I couldn't even slip my foot into, like, a shoe yet. Damn. Like, even now, like, I think last night I tried to put my foot into, like, a heeled booty, and I couldn't do it.
Yikes.
So, I mean, this happened July, and it's still, like, I can't wear anything heeled yet.
Yeah.
You know, I'm little. Like, I'm trying to, like, stunt.
I actually have a very similar story to that, actually. But it wasn't, like, in that situation. I happened to be at EDC New York at the time.
Ooh!
And I was lit. And I was just trying to follow the group. And there was, like, this little power bar, right? It's about, like, 6 inches high. Or that protects, like, the power lines and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I just, like, rolled my ankle on it.
Oh.
And it was a really bad one. I felt a pop.
Oh.
And I felt everything just kind of shift one way.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, what the hell? And I was on I was on my right leg, which was the good leg, and then I tried to walk on my left leg. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh shit, I can't move. I can't walk. Like, I had no support in that leg.
Oh, weird.
And I was like, oh shit. And then luckily my buddy noticed that I fell, and then he picked me up and then brought me to the, what you call it?
The medical tent?
No, not to the medical tent. To my cousin.
Oh.
Who then pretty much proceeded to just, like, I got you, I'll fix your ankle. It's probably just, like, dislocated or whatever.
Did he pop it back in?
Yeah.
Oh!
Oh my god.
So he just, like, yanked it, like, 3-4 times, and then I felt and heard, like, a snap, crackle, and pop.
Okay, Rice Krispies.
Yeah, pretty much. It was like that. God. And then I was like, oh my god, it was in, like, so much pain. and then like I just took all the alcohol that everyone was carrying, and I just drank all that. And then luckily I had high tops, so it had some support.
Yeah.
And then I just tied it as tight as I could.
Mm-hmm. And
kept
raving.
I kept going.
Rave on.
Yes. But you were just bouncing around on one foot.
No, I was actually fine.
Oh,
no,
wow.
see, and I probably elongated my.
It was
healing.
definitely. It extended the healing process for me
So
too.
no
Exactly.
So no matter what, just get back up when you're down.
No, because like
Exactly.
I literally like it was like a week and a half later, and I was like, well, I gotta go to Lala. Like
Priorities.
I know, but I literally wore my air cast to like Lala. Like I was sitting most of the time. One day I literally thought of bringing my crutches but then I was like, oh, it's gonna be so annoying. But then I saw people with their crutches, their scooters, and I'm like, man, I could have done it. But
You should have gotten a scooter.
yeah, my mom asked me if I wanted one, and I was like, no, I don't want one. But she was ready to buy me one.
What I could have.
And then I went to Puerto Rico and I hiked the rainforest, and game over. My ankle was broken again. Like, you know, I mean,
That's
not
wild.
literally broken, but like it was hanging by a thread at that
Right.
point.
Oh no, yeah, that's what happened to my foot. Because when I got back to the hotel that night, I took my shoe off.
Mm-hmm.
And when I took the compression off, like legit, the rush of blood going to my foot was so unbearable. I was like, dude, this is like crazy.
Yeah.
And then your foot looks like a monster
Yeah.
foot.
Oh no, it was swollen as fuck. Like after that, but it was worse the day after because I sucked it up, and because everyone wanted to go and walk downtown, I was like, fuck it, let's walk downtown. 3 hours into the walk, I was like, dude, I swear to God, my heel feels like it's got the biggest, like, what do you call it, blister in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yo, can we stop by, like, freaking McDonald's real quick? I just need to take my shoe off to see what's going on, because I feel like I got the biggest blister on my heel.
Mm-hmm.
Took off my shoe. Keep in mind, before the walk, my foot was just, like, light purple and red.
Yeah.
After that 3 hours of walking, my foot was legit like a very deep, dark purple.
Oh.
The entire foot.
Yeah.
Nope.
I was like, at that point,
I would have thought I'd like had to get it amputated or something.
No, yeah. At that point, I went past denial and I went straight into acceptance. Like, oh yeah, I'm losing my foot. And then everyone around me were like, oh my god. They were all panicking worse than I was. I was like, why are y'all panicking, dude?
Okay, I have a question. So since we were like, he was talking about his little EDC, little rave, you know, do you guys, do you guys know the stereotype, like, Asians are all into EDM and raves?
Not true.
You know?
There's
That's at
actually a
least what
large-
I've, like, you know,
Well, you also gotta
witnessed and
remember.
heard, you know, the Asian trains that try to get through you.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know why that is.
Well, okay, I'm gonna be honest. That is true. There are Asian trains, but I will tell you this: not all Asians are actually into EDM. The reason why you feel like there's a lot is because just in general there is
We
a lot of
outpopulate
us.
you.
Exactly.
Oh, you damn it.
I know, I'm down.
So a lot of people assume like, oh yeah, Asian people are the minority. No, we're actually the majority.
That's true. I mean,
We
your
make
country alone.
Our country alone makes up like a third of the population.
Yeah.
Maddie's like, what?
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like when you go to festivals and everything.
That's
you
why
see
you
that-
see. Yeah, you see a lot of Asians because we make up majority of the population. So you're obviously going to see a lot more of us. But with that in mind, not all of us do listen to EDM and all
Well,
that
you
stuff.
two do.
Us two do.
We're the majority.
Josh is getting into it.
I will try it. I will dabble in it.
We'll
You'll
save
definitely-
that for another
but-
topic.
Yeah.
But so we're past time, but we're gonna
what
wrap
time is
up.
it? Oh, you gotta.
Yeah. So
It's
let's Josh, Maddie, what advice would you like to leave our listeners? We talked
That
a lot
you've
about
learned
today.
in your own lifetime.
Fuck traditional patriarchal expectations. Like, I would just say, live up to whatever you feel is comfortable. If you, and this doesn't even necessarily have to be about queerness. Like, if you don't want to get married, you don't have to get fucking married. If you don't want kids, you don't have to get fucking kids. If you want to express yourself through, you know, more feminine things, more masculine things, whatever you want to do, fuck it. You have one life to live. Do whatever makes you happy, as long as you're not hurting anyone else. Like, don't have to live up to these expectations that society tells you to.
Okay.
And the freer you are, weirdly enough, I feel like the more you actually get to know yourself in the long run. Yeah.
That's good. And
kind of like going off of what you said, like I know.
Get a nanny.
No, to be like, I don't want to sound like so cliche, but like live your best life, like you know, because honestly, like this is the one life you have. Like I know there's people who are like, you know, take care of your health and do this. I'm that person that's like live in the moment, live in your memories. Like I'm trying so hard to not be on my phone so much when I'm at concerts and everything because. Dude, first of all, you're giving a free show to everybody. You know, they would have gotten a ticket if they wanted to go.
Right.
You know, like, I think embrace everything. Do what you, like Josh said, do what you want to do because, you know, being judge-free, like, that's kind of like what I'm trying to do. Like, I get so much crap for, like, you know, going to all these raves now, especially as we're older. But, like, reality is like, this is not when we can afford it. And, I mean... music makes me so happy, and just that, like, you two know, like, how that festival and music EDM world is.
It's therapeutic.
Yes, and it to me has made me so happy this, like, last year and a half. And
it's like your own little culture.
Yeah, exactly. It's
still mind-boggling that she's only been in it for, like, a year and a half.
Really?
I retired. I was, like, only about, like, Lala and all that stuff, like, for, like,
I've been in it for, like, the last 8 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's crazy. Actually, another thing I forgot to mention, which I will say now, being a whitewashed minority, like in terms of race and everything like that, growing up, I was like, I don't really have a culture because I can't really fit in with like American white kids. I can't really fit in with like traditionally like raised Asian kids and things like that.
You can.
Well, you can, but you know what I mean. Like you don't like get the same sense of like community. But I was just like, I think queer community actually has helped me find my footing in a lot of ways of like, this is what I consider myself, my identity.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Shout out to that community.
Yes.
And I think, you know, travel if you can. Like,
yes.
Like I said, live in the moment. That's, like, I think the best thing that you can kind of do at this time. And if you're young, I don't know, like, right now I don't have kids, so that's, like, do you.
I think that was one of our very first conversations was just, like, about your travel and how you got that little airplane tattoo on your, like, ankle. Foot. Was that on the foot or ankle?
I have it on my ankle.
It fell off when she fell.
No, I have an airplane tattoo on my ankle just because, like, it motivates me that, like, I have a goal of my own that's, like, hit 50 states before you're 50. It's not that hard.
Oh, wow.
But once...
We have a year left.
You know? Oh, my God, man.
You're 49 years old.
Don't let the haters bring you down. That's another thing.
Any shameless plugs?
Fear the Queer Podcast, I guess. Please follow us on Fear the Queer Podcast. Again, we're a podcast that talks about everything on our gay agenda.
So where can we find you?
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook. You can like us on Spotify, SoundCloud, and Apple Podcasts. All you have to do is type in Fear the Queer Podcast, and you will find us, because weirdly enough, that is not a very common name. I thought it would be. I don't know.
You can just follow me on my Insta, because I'm just, like, a social, you know, person anyways.
She's a social butterfly.
You'll want to see what I'm up to. Oh, yeah. What is my Insta name?
Oh, my goodness.
I'm
I think
sorry.
Broken Ankle Lady.
Oh, yeah. No, that's my
Maddie,
alter ego.
Yeah.
Oh, no. My Twitter is really great, too, if you really need a good, like, you know, laugh of the day. But my Insta is, you know, my handle is MADD_OH. Maddo.
Gotcha.
Maddo.
You know?
Gotcha.
So she's a Mad O.
Yes,
You
exactly.
know?
All right.
It's
Awesome.
great.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
It was our pleasure to have you guys on. We had a very, in my opinion, very amazing conversation.
Yeah.
And
Make sure y'all want us back.
Yeah. Season 3, y'all.
Have people review and rate so that they know that they like you guys here.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing, too. People don't do this very often. Rate and subscribe, because how the hell are we going to know what to talk about if you don't let us know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Rate, subscribe, leave a comment. You can definitely leave topics that we can talk about as well if y'all want to. And with that said, I just want to thank, or actually want to plug in our stuff, too.
Yes. So the Eating Cast, we're on Facebook. We have a Facebook page. We're on Instagram, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Definitely check those out. Whatever platform you guys are on, hit that follow, like, rate, review, all that good stuff.
It just helps us kind of direct our podcast and kind of improves our quality of content.
Yeah.
And with that said, for our viewers and listeners, we just want to thank you guys for coming on and listening to us and dining with us. And for our guests, thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you.
And to everyone, we will catch you on the next one. Take care.
Bye.
Peace.